shipped right now. It's getting bad. I feel bad for Caitlin Clark. She come out and said on Sue Bird's podcast that she's feeling the pressure of not playing in these games. And that Fever Sky viewership fell off the map. All right? A massive fall off from earlier in the year. No Caitlin Clark, no Angel Reese. Angel Reese is back.
The Women's National Basketball Association faces a significant challenge with television audience numbers dropping dramatically when star player Caitlin Clark remains sidelined from competition. This absence creates a ripple effect across multiple areas of league operations, most notably in broadcast viewership metrics that have reached concerning levels. Recent television ratings demonstrate the stark impact of missing marquee players. Numbers have declined to levels reminiscent of league performance from several seasons prior, creating serious questions about audience retention and growth strategies. The financial implications for player compensation discussions become increasingly complex when viewership data shows such dramatic fluctuations.
Here, no Caitlin Clark, no Angel Reese. Angel Reese is back injury? Question mark. Nobody's exactly sure what the hell's going on there at all. I mean, look, we saw Caitlin Clark's visible injury during the game. She literally grabbed the area near the area that we knew was immediately, we got a real problem here. So let's go look at this. Guys, I got to tell you, and two of the
Clark herself has acknowledged feeling pressure regarding her absence from games, particularly noting how it affects broadcast numbers. Speaking on a recent podcast appearance, she expressed awareness of the burden her injury places on league-wide television performance. The situation becomes more complicated with Angel Reese also dealing with physical setbacks, though details surrounding her condition remain unclear to outside observers. The weekend matchup between Indiana and Chicago attracted 1.31 million television viewers on broadcast network coverage. While this figure represents decent performance compared to season averages, it marks the lowest audience for any contest between these franchises since their rivalry intensified.
So let's go look at this. Guys, I got to tell you, and two of these other games I'm going to show you, it is bad back in WNBA territory of where they were like 3 years ago or 4 years ago. I saw these ratings and was like, you got to be joking. No, it's not a joke. Yeah, pay us what you owe us. Okay. Some Roman noodles and saltine crackers. That's where...
Historical context shows how dramatically different these numbers appear when compared to similar contests featuring both star rookies. 12 months earlier, the identical team pairing generated 2.7 million viewers during their May encounter. The current audience represents nearly 1.5 million fewer people choosing to watch, demonstrating the measurable impact of star player availability on television engagement. This trend continues a pattern observed in previous meetings where both players missed action due to various circumstances. Clark has participated in only 13 of her team's 32 regular season contests this year, appearing in just one of 4 meetings between these rival franchises.
That's where we're going. This is bad. The Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky have consistently driven some of the WNBA's biggest viewership numbers since Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese were drafted last year, but the two stars have been out with injuries, and it's reflected in the viewership. Saturday's Fever Sky game drew 1.31 million viewers on free over-the-air antenna CBS.
Beyond individual player impact, coaching changes have altered the style of basketball being presented, with some observers noting that current offensive approaches create less television-friendly entertainment compared to previous seasons. The timing proves particularly challenging as other sports leagues begin their programming cycles. Professional football preseason games have returned to television schedules, creating direct competition for viewer attention. Recent preseason contests drew significantly larger audiences, with some matchups attracting over over 2 million viewers each, substantially outperforming basketball offerings. Major League Baseball programming also demonstrated superior audience capture, with weekend games drawing 500,000 more viewers than the featured basketball contest.
Air antenna CBS. That's right. If you got some rabbit ears, you could have watched this game for free. 1.31 million, we have officially regressed. We have went way backwards, which is slightly above the average national TV viewership for Fever games this year. But it also is the least watched of the 8 Chicago and Indiana games since 20.
Even entertainment programming reruns manage competitive audience levels, highlighting the challenges facing basketball when star attractions remain unavailable. Most concerning for league officials are the audience figures for games featuring other teams and players. Recent contests on cable networks attracted alarmingly small viewership numbers, with some games drawing fewer than 200,000 total viewers.
Since 2024, look at this, folks. This is last year. Back this year, May 17th of 2025, that game between the Sky and Caitlin Clark and the Fever drew 2.7 million. This one was 1.31 million without Caitlin Clark. Their light 4.1 million viewers. Nearly 1.5 million viewers said, nah, I'm going to do something.
One particularly notable game featuring championship contenders attracted only 180,000 viewers despite showcasing teams currently positioned for playoff competition. Another contest between playoff-bound franchises managed just 160,000 television viewers, numbers that would have been considered disappointing even during the league's earlier developmental phases. These viewership levels mirror those achieved by alternative basketball leagues that operate during traditional off-season periods, suggesting that audience interest remains heavily concentrated around specific personalities rather than distributed across all team offerings. The dependency on individual star power becomes evident when examining the dramatic variance in audience engagement.
Nearly 1.5 million viewers said, nah, I'm going to do something else. And you know a bigger problem the W's got right now? The juggernaut known as the National Football League is back. And preseason games officially, and I'll show you a couple, stomping the hell out of the WNBA with reckless abandon. This follows 1.47 million for the teams from the previous July 27th.
League leadership faces pressure to address these trends, particularly as collective bargaining discussions approach and players seek increased compensation based on media rights valuations. The current television performance raises questions about the sustainability of growth projections and revenue assumptions that underpin future salary negotiations. The return of football programming creates additional competitive pressure as audiences traditionally shift attention toward that sport during autumn months. Basketball's ability to maintain relevance during this period becomes more challenging when featured attractions remain unavailable due to physical limitations.
0.47 million for the teams from the previous July 27th meeting. Clark and Reese also missed that game. Clark, who has played in only 13 of the Fever's 32 regular season games this year, has played in just 1 of 4 meetings between the two rivals. I can tell you a big problem right now. Watchability. These games are not fun to watch right now. And honestly, some of the games with Caitlin Clark were not fun to watch. We were talking about this the other day.
Some industry observers suggest the league must develop strategies for maintaining audience engagement that extend beyond reliance on individual performers, though current evidence suggests this approach faces significant obstacles. The measurement of success increasingly depends on the availability of specific players rather than the overall quality of competition or team performance. Television executives and league officials must balance immediate audience demands with long-term player health considerations, creating complex decision-making scenarios that affect both short-term revenue and sustainable growth objectives. The current situation demonstrates how individual player impact extends far beyond on-court performance to encompass broader business and entertainment considerations.
Last night, and if the opponents were giving this type of effort with earlier when Caitlin Clark was down, I'm not sure if this 5-game winning streak would have ever happened. Maurice, I'm going to let you fire first.
Yeah, I agree with you. When these teams face the Indiana Fever while Caitlin Clark is playing, it's the Super Bowl. You're getting everybody's best shot. Everybody wants to make a name for themselves beyond their play, meaning I'll make a name for myself by knocking her to the floor or elbowing her eye.
Recovery timelines for injured stars remain uncertain, leaving television programming and audience projection planning in flux. The league's ability to navigate this period while maintaining viewer interest and sponsor confidence will likely influence future strategic decisions regarding player management, scheduling, and marketing approaches. Financial implications extend beyond television revenue to include sponsorship valuations, merchandise sales, and venue attendance figures, all of which correlate with television audience engagement levels. The interconnected nature of these revenue streams amplifies the impact of individual player availability on overall league financial performance.
Meaning I'll make a name for myself by knocking her to the floor or elbowing her eyeball out the socket. Whatever I got to do, that is what they are willing to do when Caitlin Clark is on the team. We have not received, I don't believe, that same effort from these players while she's not there, and we have benefited from playing a lot of terrible teams, as I stated last show. But beyond this game, we were terrible in the Los Angeles Sparks game. You made a late run. Nobody played basketball until you were down 22 with 6 minutes left. Ari McDonald was terrible in the Sparks game, terrible in the Mercury.
Current trends suggest that rebuilding audience momentum may require significant time and strategic adjustment, particularly if star player absences continue for extended periods. The challenge becomes developing programming and marketing approaches that can sustain interest while primary attractions remain unavailable for competition. The Indiana Fever experienced a heavy defeat, losing 95-60, and the absence of Caitlin Clark appeared to change how their opponents approached the game. Without Clark, rival teams such as the Mercury and the Sun applied the same high-intensity style they typically reserve for matchups when she is on the floor.
It was terrible in the Sparks game, terrible in the Mercury game. You cannot, and I said this time and time again, you cannot survive on the Six Flags roller coaster that is Kelsey Mitchell. Yes, she can get hot with the best of them, but she's a roller coaster. She scores 35, then she scores 8. She scores 23, then she scores 9. You cannot survive on the Kelsey Mitchell roller coaster, and I think Stephanie White did a poor job game planning. You're not supposed to help off Alyssa Thomas. You force her to score 35 points and don't leave the three-point line.
Fatigue from a 4-game road trip and an overly confident mindset left the Fever vulnerable, leading to a performance that exposed multiple weaknesses. When Clark is active, her presence draws maximum defensive pressure, often making games feel like championship matchups for opponents. Players are motivated not just to perform well, but to physically challenge her in any way possible. Without her, that same energy has not always been present, and the Fever's recent winning streak benefited from weaker competition.
You force her to score 35 points and don't leave the three-point line.
Frank, I want you to piggyback off that comment with a little different spin. I think that Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston, they get elevated to the top scout. And the top of the scout sheet, they get the most defensive attention when Caitlin Clark is not there. And it kind of got exposed last night that when you're the focus of another team's defense, it has.
However, in this loss, poor game planning was also a factor. For example, defensive assignments on Alyssa Thomas allowed her to create significant offensive damage. Without Clark, Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston become the primary focus of opposing defenses, revealing their limitations when elevated to top scouting priority. Clark's spacing and playmaking typically provide them with freedom to operate, but when targeted, their effectiveness declines.
Has an impact on you where Caitlin Clark creates so much space and freedom for everybody else that, you know, they kind of got exposed like, they're not capable of being the number one. I like them both. I love them both. But overexposed when they're the top of the other team scout. Your reaction to that?
They're terrible tools, Jason. Listen, you love them both because of Caitlin Clark.
This shift highlights her critical role in the team's success. Some perspectives claim that without Clark, the WNBA product becomes far less engaging, with a noticeable drop in execution and game flow. Frequent missed layups, questionable decision-making, and inconsistent officiating contribute to the perception that quality suffers when she is absent. While some fans still find value in watching other players, the overall entertainment level often dips.
Of Caitlin Clark. You didn't know neither one of them until Caitlin Clark came about. We only here because of Caitlin Clark. It's the only reason why we talking about WNBA. You're not going to walk into no bar, no Buffalo Wild Wings, and see them having a WNBA game on. You're not going to walk in no sports bar in the casino. No, it's not. So I don't love Aaliyah Boston. I don't love Kelsey Mitchell. I love Caitlin Clark.
There are also suggestions that Clark receives less protection from officials compared to other stars, with physical contact often ignored. Critics argue that this is part of a broader cultural and organizational resistance to her, suggesting that league politics and internal agendas clash with her image and values. This theory extends to...
I don't love Aaliyah Boston. I don't love Kelsey Mitchell. I love Caitlin Clark. She's something different we've never seen before. These women are regular degulars. I coach 8th grade boys. They just as talented as the 8th grade boys. We wouldn't be sitting here having these discussions, okay? Women shouldn't even be playing basketball. It's a contact sport. I mean, what are we doing here, Jason? What are we doing? It's a contact sport. I don't want to see women playing basketball. They're not athletic enough. They're not fast enough. They're not none of that. They need to be tennis, golf, volleyball, swimming, track.
The mix of personalities and playing styles has created locker room dynamics that lack cohesion, with visible signs of separation among players during games. In particular, the treatment of players like Lexi Hull has been called a misstep, as changes in rotation and inconsistent roles have undermined confidence and performance. Team culture and chemistry issues became apparent after the recent loss, with even core players acknowledging the difference Clark makes to their opportunities and scoring chances. Observers noted that when she is on the court, certain teammates thrive from the defensive attention she draws, but without her, the offense struggles to create the same quality looks.
Golf, volleyball, swimming, track, no contact sports.
Frank, I wasn't expecting you to be this frank. I'm not sure if I agree with you. Your channel is built around the WNBA. You're watching the WNBA, and I get Caitlin Clark is the driving force, but to sit here and argue they shouldn't be playing basketball, that there's no entertainment value out of it, I disagree with that.
I'm disgusted by watching it without Caitlin.
The discussion surrounding Clark's role in the league often extends beyond basketball into debates about representation, marketability, and media narratives. Supporters view her as someone focused solely on the game, while critics see tensions between her presence and the league's broader promotional strategies. These conversations, combined with roster decisions, inconsistent officiating, and shifting player motivations, continue to fuel speculation about whether her career is being subtly undermined. The situation remains a talking point for both fans and analysts, with some believing the Fever's leadership must make significant changes if they intend to maximize Clark's potential and create a competitive, unified team environment.